Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield on this 23rd day of October. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
Oh, we've got some breaking news out of the NBA that we'll get into. Plus, we'll recap the NBA games last night. Oh, we've got such a busy show and a different type of show. We'll have Blanche from the Golden Girls joining us at 8 o'clock. Yes, you heard me right. The Golden Girls are coming to town. We'll talk all about that. Plus, we can make you some money, and it's a weird day to have talk gambling.
Are we going to have Blanche in? Yeah, it is a weird day to talk gambling, and we'll explain that in a sec. Are we getting Blanche in video?
No,
No,
they're
dang
traveling.
it.
But
I was just thinking in my head, I was like, if he's in full garb, for those of you who
if it
don't
goes
know,
well,
we'll see how this goes.
they might join us when they come to town in November. But we'll have Bull Brady at 8:30 making you some money, and then we'll wrap up the show with our football picks. Plus, man, I would be I just got to bring this up. We've been going through trying to get these rodeo wrestlers in, and they'll be joining us tomorrow at 7:30. We got a jam-packed show the rest of the week, but you can always call or text, whether it's your fantasy lineup questions or just a comment anytime. 661-842-2000.
And I highly recommend, once again, Bolt Brady is here to help you guys win some money. I know California people, you can't bet. I understand that. But the rest of you can. And if you're not utilizing this time with Bolt Brady, who does take these segments and throw it on his show as well at the Believe Network, go check that out, Bolt Brady and his bro, which is a fantastic show in itself. He talks with, I believe it's his actual brother, and they give you guys the best ins and outs of betting and whatnot, especially in the worlds of football and golf, because he is a very good golf bettor as well.
I was going to ask, does he do basketball?
Not very much, no. So that's one of those things.
That's kind of been the normal for a lot of sports betting. Well, I personally enjoy the I'll take the 20 plus in this, but if I had a maybe a guy that I knew that maybe played in the NBA and making some big bets in like 45-minute span, I would be making a little bit more money.
I think a lot of players have been thinking the same thing there, Sparky, especially with the breaking news that we had this morning. If you haven't heard, or if you're just waking up, we have news that both Trailblazers head coach and former player and former MVP Chauncey Billups,
Hall of
Famer, as well as Terry Rozier, the point guard for the Miami Heat, have been arrested this morning in connections to illegal gambling within the NBA. Now, Chauncey's technically, and again, all of these are allegations. These are not for sure. They are not accused of any of the. Or I'm sorry, they're being accused. They are not fully
just
convicted.
Enough to put those handcuffs on him.
Right. Chauncey apparently has been getting into some poker games that are connected to the mafia.
This one is the wildest one.
Didn't even know mafia was still around, by the way.
Oh, that's how they like it.
I know. And now it makes me really wonder, okay, who the heck is the mafia? Who do I need to be looking around for who's, like, the new Don Corleone? I mean, what's happening?
I was talking to Billy over here this morning. He was like, really?
Yeah.
And even a coach. I mean, that one is, I mean, again, he was like, how does somebody get in with betting with the mob? And you would think maybe he was playing at a table, high stakes, and somebody was like, hey, I know who you are. You got money. Let's come over here to our special table.
How much you want to bet the Don is a Detroit Pistons fan? The new Don loves him some Pistons. Saw Chauncey, like Sparky just said, saw Chauncey playing some poker in Vegas one night and said, hey, Chauncey,
let's party over here.
We got a big stakes game for you over here, brother.
Come on, big boy money.
Exactly. I mean, at this point, it's one of the weirdest stories, and we have no information based on the Chauncey Billups thing.
You just said it. That was pretty much what we got. And the dude coached last night.
Yeah. And that's the craziest part about it to me, though, is the NBA had no idea these arrests were going to happen, says Sham Sharani on Get Up this morning.
Sham.
None whatsoever. And
I mean, the Rozier one kind of wasn't as a surprising move because he was investigated a couple years ago.
Right.
But now they've obviously got enough info and backing to put some handcuffs on him, which is just crazy, dude.
And they're not the only ones they're the epicenter of this story, but they're not the only ones getting busted right now. Malik Beasley also at the center of a lot of these things. And we've already talked about him during the offseason. why he wasn't re-signed by the Pistons because of these allegations of gambling, and they kind of knew this was coming. And you can honestly say the Miami Heat may have known something too, because guess who didn't play last night?
Mm-hmm.
Terry Rozier. And you really think that a guy who averages 14 points a game wasn't going to play for Eric Spoelstra? Really?
And that one was kind of odd, because what the unusual wagering with Rozier was, it pretty much centers around a rebound and assist bet in March of 2023, where it led sports books to stop bets when 30 wagers totaling over 13 grand were placed in 45 minutes
by professional bettors.
Uh-huh.
Now, one of the major things that you're not hearing right now in this story, but if you read into it on ESPN and whatnot, is there is somebody on the inside that has been peddling information to them that's also a former player, Mr. Damon Jones, former Cleveland Cavalier player and assistant coach. And he's an 11-year vet that has apparently been peddling information to all of these guys who are making bets about stuff that's happening inside the league, which is also incredibly, incredibly illegal. And again, there are so many factors to this, but I think this all boils down to the same question we had when this whole Malik Beasley thing happened a couple weeks ago, and we talked about it on this show. The NBA's new problem, back when it was Michael days, it was the drugs and just the hoodlums and, them having a bad look upon themselves. They've kind of cleaned that up, got that out of the locker room. It's much more professional now. But unfortunately, your new issue is gambling. And it seems to me now, with Rozier getting hit and popped, Javante Porter last year getting banned from the NBA for gambling for the exact same thing, Malik Beasley, potentially now Chauncey Billups, if these allegations do go through and he is convicted of gambling, especially gambling with the mafia.
Yeah, and with the Billups one, it's a bit different just because it's not sports betting, but it's still gambling. Exactly.
It's just being in with the mob.
And they even Shams, I heard Shams this morning on Unsportsmanlike and was like, we don't even know enough information with the Billups story. It could be when he was a player, when he was, sportscasting, when he was, but now with a coach being popped right after a loss last night, it's just insane. And I think you're right. I think the NBA's got a big problem.
Big gambling problem right now, especially since you don't need any negative publicity coming towards you when you're trying to build an international viewership like they have, especially over social media, which is drowning with children. And what's the one gripe every Californian that doesn't want sports gambling here that says, Spark? They're doing it to protect the kids, or hogwash, but they're doing it to protect the kids.
Winning.
So at this point, I mean, the information about the Chauncey Billups thing is literally coming out as we speak. Kash Patel is having a press conference right now, and hopefully we will get some more information by the end of the show we'll be able to share with you.
Dude, it's just wild. And luckily we got Bull Brady on. I'm sure he's going to have some comments on that. But one, does it hurt not only the NBA, the look of the NBA? And obviously they've tried to put their foot down on these gambling scenarios, but I mean, the day after, or really, I was pumped this morning coming up, but my Bulls won last night. They beat these almighty Pistons. I know it's only one game.
Good.
And I was going to say, we had 4 guys with double digits. I was pumped.
Even the 24-year-old, I was like, what?
And Giddy looked like Giddy. And I mean, I was pumped coming in, and then breaking news. And I'm like, man, this is a horrible look at the NBA. But I mean, it's just the timing, man. The day after all these games, I mean, the rest of the NBA kicked off or tipped off last night.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, dude, like they've been sitting on this, or all the information came out last night during some action. They're like, we're going to pop these. And this 2 different locations.
Right. And again, these are completely separate instances, but related. So each one of these lawsuits are going to be completely separately tried in court. And to be honest with you, I think some are more damning than others. But I think Evan Cohen on Unsportsmanlike made a very, very good point at the beginning of, or this morning, I should say, when all of this broke. It's mostly about Chauncey Billups, but you're not necessarily looking at it from or at least we aren't looking at it from his perspective of this affects your game. This affects your morality. This affects how much we can trust you around the game. Because again, much like the Porter situation, You can't have players out there shaving points or shaving rebounds and assists just to get a couple extra bucks coming their way, because that's how you get, well, skewed games. Everybody talks about how the referees like to skew games for specific teams. Now in basketball, you have players doing that just for them to make a couple extra dollars. That's not good for sports. It's not good for anybody.
Like they're not making enough money. And
And
Rozier, he was betting on himself,
right. And
which
again,
makes it even worse.
yeah, and especially when you bet on yourself and then you magically come up with a foot injury halfway through that game and never play another game for that
Just
team
got
you
the
just bet for.
perfect stats for him.
Exactly. And that's not okay in any way, shape, or form. And if you're Chauncey Billups as a coach, again, not necessarily making bets on NBA games, but you were hired, as Evan Cohen said earlier, and I'm parroting just what he said, you were hired more for your obvious ability in basketball and what you have done in the game, but you've also were hired because of just being an outstanding individual. I mean, we were talking about it when we got hired, or when he got hired a couple years ago. I mean, Chauncey Billups is one of those guys you really never heard anything bad about him, especially off the court antics. He was very squeaky clean. He was very, community guy. And regardless if he was playing for the Pistons or the Clippers, didn't matter. He was really in the community and was an upstanding citizen. And for this to happen during his coaching career, and again, we don't know if he was doing it while he was a coach. We don't know if he was doing it while he was a player, while he was a commentator. It really doesn't matter. You're still in with the mafia, the mob. And that in itself is a very, very troubling thing, because who's going to say that he's not down real bad in one of these poker games and they say, hey, we'll wipe all the debt away if you don't play so and so in this game tomorrow night?
Yeah, drop it.
Cade Cunningham just so happened to, drop 30 on your head because you weren't playing Dame that night. Or, I'm sorry, Scoot Henderson. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a big, big problem with this. We'll hear more from the FBI director, Kash Patel, literally as we speak. I'm sure he's talking right over me, but we will get the information out to you guys once we know it, and all the people involved in this. Because again, there are
It's
more
wild.
people than just Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups. You got Damon Jones that's also going to be connected to this. I'm sure Malik Beasley is going to be coming up at some point during this.
There's always going to
a
be more
ton.
people added. I'm sure of it. And it's just wild, man.
Before we go to break, though, do you think this is just the first wave of players to get busted for this?
That's what I meant. I mean, that's what it seems like. We've seen it over the years, especially more recently. But I mean, to kick off the morning like this with two guys in two different locations and two different separate cases, they're going to crack down, and it's not just them two.
And this is all coming on the heels of Adam Silver on McAfee on Monday talking about this exact topic, how them partnering with the FBI and all of these organizations to clamp down on the gambling and stuff like that. I think this is just the first in many, many names you're going to be hearing in the NBA throughout this season alone that are all going to get popped.
My question is, how much money is behind? We've talked about this with the NFL, but with the amount of money that the leagues are making with these sports betting, with the prop bets and this and that, do you think the NBA is going to have to do something deeper? Because it seems it's more of an issue here in the NBA. And I don't think they can walk away from the money.
I see what you're getting at. And to be honest with you, yes, especially if this ends up being a bigger problem in the media's eyes and in the people's eyes. Because once you really become that organization that's known for their players betting on themselves, literally, I think that a lot of people steer away from your game, because now it becomes WWE like. Now it becomes, scripted.
Yep.
And everybody's just going to be assuming, the NBA is not real. It has a script, because all these guys are betting on each other and taking money away from you, who's also sports betting. And I think that that's going to be a major issue coming down the line, especially if this continues. And to be honest with you, if it does go that route, the only thing I can think of is terminating the relationship.
Exactly.
It's the only way you can save yourself.
Stepping away from the money.
Distance yourself from all things betting, including DraftKings, Underdog, all that type of stuff.
And with the newer commish like him, he's going to have to put his foot down somehow, some way. But we'll get into that as more information comes out. And I'd also like to see maybe Snacks is available next week. I was already going to talk to him about recapping the first week, but now we've got a bigger topic to get into. But like we said, you can call or text in anytime, 661-842-2000. We'll recap what we saw in the NBA last night and much more right after this. This is the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield, 1230 a.m.
101.1 FM. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 a.m., as well as streaming video every single weekday as we do the show from 7 to 9 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can go back, watch all of our old episodes in the past couple of weeks on YouTube. They're all there for you, plus a couple of interviews and whatnot. And the new Bump That segment. I was just with our guy 24kg last night. We will be knocking out the first one as NXT gets ready to do their Halloween Havoc PLE this weekend. So we'll be talking about that, plus Wrestle Dream from last weekend, and much, much more. KG is a diehard Niner fan, so maybe we'll get some thoughts on that one. We will see what we will see as we go throughout the weekend. The craziest thing as well about this whole betting situation that we really should touch on a little bit. Adam Silver had no clue these arrests were coming today. Eric, basically, he went to bed last night thinking, "Man, we had a great 2 days of opening basketball because we did. We had a fantastic 2 days of opening basketball. Double overtime thriller in night 1, plus the Lakers getting taken down by the Warriors. Last night's game, the Knicks won over the Cavs in pretty, convincing fashion, I would say. Snacks' Hornets looked fantastic, blew out the Nets. We got the most points from a rookie in their debut since Wilt. Victor Wembanyama dropped 40 on top of Cooper Flag. I mean,
Raptors scored a franchise high. The Bulls beat the Pistons.
there is so much to be excited about when this basketball season kicks off, all for it to just get halted like this, all just to get slapped in the face. And it's, because they went to the FBI and said, help us figure this out as they needed to. I mean, but we do have Cash Patel and his press conference right now. Do we want to go to this real quick? Maybe hear a little bit from Mr. Patel? does come back. So, from what I hear, and again, that was only part of this, press conference from the FBI Director Kash Patel on this entire gambling situation with Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones, as we name dropped earlier, former Cavalier and assistant coach. Again, I'm gonna read into this a little bit more before getting too far into my thoughts, but from what we understand and from what the director just let us know, Chauncey and Damon were used as face cards. Essentially, I would assume to bring some legitimacy to the game for these people to think, okay, well, if there's an NBA player or a former NBA player here
I'm
putting their
safe.
money down, I'm safe. And wow, the amount of cheating utensils used just to make sure, that's incredible to me. And if this is how the mob is making their money, just rigging poker games now, I'm not exactly that worried, I guess. They must not be doing very well. Again, I want to know who these people are. We still got a mafia in America. I thought this stuff was snuffed out years ago.
Never.
Never. This is one of the craziest stories to have happen at the beginning of a season for any sports organization, let alone the NBA.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the NBA reacts to this
Yeah.
now.
And again, the Terry Rozier thing, completely separate. We didn't hear anything on that one in that area. I assume that they're just going to be popping Terry for the exact same thing they got Porter for last year, which is the incredibly inconsistent influx of bets that came in on that March day in 2023, plus more than likely other instances that are probably not referenced yet. But Chauncey Billups and this whole poker night thing, I'm hoping and praying, because I am a fan of Chauncey Billups. I really am. I've always been a fan of him, even though he played against my Cavs for years. He's always been that guy that has been known for at least having an upstanding, uh, face, for lack of a better word. But at this point, until we know the full story of all of this, and until these allegations get taken care of in court, we will give you all the information we can as it comes out. This is incredible. I mean, the amount of cheating utensils used is wild. Scanning cards underneath the poker chips. Genius. Won't gonna lie to you.
Shuffler,
But it also makes me wonder how many of these are in Vegas.
right?
How many of these are being used by casinos today that they don't tell you about?
Yeah, you can't sell me that the mob is the only one using it.
No. Heck no. There's no way these things are created just solely for the mob to make money off of them. I agree with you 100%. And that's why I'm saying I think there's going to be a lot more that comes out of this. That's why I'm going to reserve most of my thoughts on this until it fully comes out. But as of right now, Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, Terry Rozier, uh, all of them, although separate instances, separate lawsuits, all being arrested this morning, as we told you. And hopefully, we'll have some better news for you in the world of the NBA here within the next day or two to turn this around. Let's take a break real quick, pay some bills. On the other side, we'll talk about some of these games from last night, including the major highlights. Like I said earlier, Victor Wembanyama dropping 40 on the Dallas Mavericks. VJ Edgecombe helping the 76ers start the year out on the right track, beating the Celtics by a point. There's plenty to talk about. That's good. So let's get to those. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Oh man, pure 90s. Am I the only one that like kind of wishes modern day artists would remake some of these like classic sports 90s songs?
They need to.
Welcome to the Jam,
They're covering everything else.
playing
Basketball
Basketball
Jones.
Jones. What is your guys' favorite sports based song? I don't mean, the easy answers like black and yellow. Okay, I know it's about the Steelers. That's not what I mean. I mean go
So not
deep.
the Bulls intro.
Yeah,
I
no,
love
let's
that
let's
Bulls
let's
intro.
leave the Bulls intro out of it as well. We all know that's a great one. I want something obscure. I want y'all to really dig deep and tell me what's that one song that you would never tell your friends that you still listen to today in the night from the 90s. Come on now.
Jock jams.
661-842-2000. Best answer. We got a t-shirt for you. We'll be able to hook you up with something, or you'll be first on the list of the next pair of tickets that we can give away. And to be honest with you, they are coming pretty quick here. We got the Condors coming around the corner. I know Teddy Bear Toss is here almost. I mean, there's plenty to talk about. There's plenty for us to be able to help you guys get to. So we will get all that by and by. Let's get at the NBA out of the way, since we did talk about this entire story that broke this morning. Plenty of games last night to highlight, including the ones you saw on television. Really, Cleveland losing to the Knicks, 119-111. Again, Cleveland playing without their starting point guard, but that's really no excuse. They did not play to their abilities whatsoever, in my opinion.
I thought they were going to lose it at the end.
And, well,
They came back for a while.
They did, but again, the Knicks with Mike Brown, I think, are now more focused on that gritty defensive style of play that's most likely going to be beneficial for them going forward. Not that Tibbs wasn't focused on that, but there's a little bit of a slight difference between Mike Brown's idea and Thibodeau's ideas. And I think that you're going to see a little bit of a different Knicks team this year.
You got guys off the bench.
That's true too. Yeah, relying on the bench players, allowing them to thrive a little bit, which again, Tibbs is very, very much known for not doing. So I think that can only benefit the Knicks, especially getting to the playoff time. The only thing that I sat there watching the game scratching my head was y'all had Jalen Brunson on the bench for the better part of the second half. And that's your bread and butter. Mike Brown has learned very, very quickly. That's the guy that needs to be getting the ball. Not Mikal Bridges, not Karl Anthony Towns. It's Mr. Clutch. It's Jalen Brunson. Let's talk about a couple of these other games, though. I mean, you go down the slate. You've already mentioned the Raptors scoring the most points in an opener for them, 138, 118. Were you shocked by this at all? Because this is one of those teams I don't think anybody was really talking about coming into the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's one game. I was surprised they put up that many points, but I mean, I was going back. I had the red zone of the NBA. I forget what they call it. Not the league pass, but they Peacock has an extra channel too that you can flop back and forth with games, and I'm enjoying the Peacock version. I also had the ESPN one up.
Very, very pleased that Peacock isn't losing all of these live sports. I was really worried about that when the WWE left. But you're right. Like, it's been really nice to look at, just being able to bounce back and forth between all of these games that they have.
It was nice to see Wemby. Wemby had a hell of a game. I'm not on the I'm not a big Wemby guy, but I was excited to see the game just because of the matchup and seeing Cooper Flag and all this, promotion of it. But Wemby's Wemby, dude. Like he looks good. And I know he missed a lot of time last season. But I mean, the guy looks healthy. He looks 100%. And what was it, 40 something game or points he scored?
Yep.
I mean, he had a hell of a game.
I mean, again, the Dallas Mavericks are their own real problem right now.
Yes.
They're still dealing with the injuries. Kyrie's not back, and they're really not 100%. They really don't know what position they're going to be playing Cooper Flag at. I know a lot of people want him at the point guard position. I've said on this show that I don't think that's going to be beneficial for you at all. I think he's more of a 3. I think you can probably point forward him, maybe have him like a LeBron type. But I loved what I saw from him. I loved the energy plays, the offensive rebounds, him trying to get tip dunks. I think that he is an aggressive player that's only going to get better. And 10 points in your debut, although not super flashy, you have to look at who he had to go up against throughout this entire game, and we're talking about Victor Wembanyama, who averages 3 blocks a game since his career started. This kid's going to have ridiculous stats at the end of his career. He really is. I think at the end of all of this, I know we're talking about Shohei. Shohei is the GOAT of baseball. And I know I said it the other day that baseball has really seen a ridiculous influx of generational players that have played, even with the viewership numbers going down every single year. I think Victor can be in that same boat.
As long as he can stay healthy and his
Mhm.
health concerns, obviously he's got deeper health issues too. I mean, I watched most of the Bulls games, so I was a little biased. So
Eh,
I
what
was
did
pumped because we had guys that were actually scoring. It wasn't
right.
dancing around like last season, the last 2 seasons, really.
What did you see out of your Bulls that I mean, I saw a couple things that I was very pleased by. I think your guys' ability to move the ball is much better this year. Josh Giddey being at the point solely is going to be a benefit for you. And I think you guys found a dude in how do you pronounce this guy's
I
name?
just call him
Buzels?
Buzz.
Buzzles?
Yeah, I
Beazle?
just call him Buzz. But yeah, Nicola is a hell of a center. I think they're starting to
Vukovic
put.
is so underrated. No one
Yeah,
gives
no
him
one
the
talks
love.
about him,
No one
and
gives him
he
his love
steps up. He
anymore.
reminds me of Boozer almost
Yeah.
when we had him.
When he was with the Magic, he was one of the best centers in the league, but nobody ever gave him his
No,
flowers.
no.
And I mean, I agree with you. Like ever since he came to the Bulls, he's kind of had that resurgence back to what he used to be that at that point in time, which will be great for you guys.
Finishing off, leading the team with 28 points. And I love Giddey. I was super happy when we brought him back because I was scared he was going to go to the Lakers. But I mean, the East is hurting this season, and it looks like there might be some teams. Obviously, it's only one game, hopefully, but it looked like a
Well,
better Bulls team. I'll tell you that.
that's why I brought up the whole Toronto question, because we were sitting here talking who's the next team in the East, who's going to be that guy to really step up, since the Pacers and the Celtics are going to be without their guys all year. And obviously, I'm sitting here singing the Cavs' praises, and rightfully so. They were number one in the East last year. But I think there are teams like Toronto. I think the 76ers, VJ Edgecombe, 34, 36 points, something like that. The most points by a rookie since Wilt Chamberlain, literally, like in his debut. I thought that was pretty dang cool. There's a lot of very interesting pieces in the East right now that I agree with you. It's only one game, so we'll see how the season progresses with these 81 games left. But I think there's some teams out there we didn't even consider, including the Bulls, the Raptors. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there right now that looked fantastic to start out the
The Bucks
season.
didn't look bad.
Bucks didn't look bad. You're right. Giannis had a fantastic game. But again, I think that one is all stemming around Giannis's future with the team.
Plus, they were playing the
And
Wizards.
yeah, absolutely. The worst team in the NBA by far, and that has not changed. But at the end of the day, they are going to be the ones dealing. I'm sorry, the Bucks rather are going to be dealing with the media and everybody all year long. The same distracting questions. When is Giannis going to leave? Who is he going to? Because at this point, everybody has essentially divorced the two. They've divorced the Bucks from Giannis,
Yeah,
even though he's still there.
He's still there, but everyone's like, he's gone.
Right. And
it's the same thing as the other game I watched, I got home towards the end of the Cavs game, but I got to catch the Magic Heat game. So any time the Heat can lose and the Bulls win, I'm happy. But I mean, I've heard from you, I've heard from Snacks that the Magic is one of these teams that could be a serious contender.
You got to look out for them.
And the Magic look good.
Absolutely. 125, 121 was the final for their game. And again, I think the biggest addition to this team was Desmond Bane. I think the one thing that the Magic were missing rather was a point guard that could really come in and be the same kind of player that they've already had, because the Magic the last couple of years have really built themselves around being a tough defensive team that's also young and really lean on their star players to be the main scorers. With bringing in Desmond Bane, you no longer have to have Paolo Banchero score 30 to 40 points a game for you guys to be relevant. You have multiple people that can go in there and average 20 to 30. And honestly, I think that's what they were missing for the majority of last year, was just that second option to go to outside of Paolo, especially in the crunch time moments. The other one that we have to highlight before we go to a break was the Hornets beating up on the Nets rather. I apologize. Our guy Snacks highlighted this the other day. He said this is probably his shocker of the year, that team that's going to make a splash. And here, how's this for a splash? All but one player. They had 10 guys hit the court in this game. All but one guy scored 10 points. Every single, you hearing what I tell you? Every single player, 9 out of 10, scored 10 points. That does not happen in the NBA.
Yeah, no 9 players in double digits. That's
That is
insane.
never that I was watching that and I said, I don't think this has ever happened ever. I've never seen 9 guys in double figures. That is wild numbers. But if that is a precursor of what's to come for the Charlotte Hornets, Snacks might have hit the nail right on the head, and this might be the team that everybody needs to watch out for in the East as well. And again, these are all teams that none of us even considered to be in the area of threatening. And I'm going to put the Bulls up there. I'm going to put the Hornets up there. Raptors look fantastic, and the 76ers. All 4 of those teams are going to be just chomping at the bit to get those playoff spots that are currently being, well, essentially left open by the Pacers and the Celtics and all of these other teams that people are just assuming are going to be washed away since their star players are not going to be playing this year, at least the majority of the year.
It's great to have basketball back, and I just really hope this this gambling thing just doesn't
ruin it. I agree.
cloud everything.
Again, this is the weirdest way to start a season. And I'm really hoping just America's recency bias will wash all this away and we'll forget about it by halfway through the season. But at this point, I agree with you. Just we have had 2 back-to-back days of fantastic opening day basketball, and for all of it to kind of get just stomped on by the FBI.
Yeah, you look up NBA, that's the first thing that's coming up.
I know. It's the roughest thing in the world. But let's take a break. On the other side, we got to get you guys ready for this Thursday night matchup in the NFL, as well as the Chargers get ready to take on the Minnesota Vikings. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Viewing video every single day on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at 7 to 9. As the show goes, you can go back and watch all of our old episodes as well as some segments and former interviews and whatnot on our YouTube channel. Just go out and search up the Early Bird Special. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the bell every time. You will know when we go live. We got a good NFL game ready for you this weekend, or I'm sorry, starting tonight for this weekend will be the Minnesota Vikings headed to LA to take on the Chargers. Currently, the Chargers are the fourth best offense in the NFL, third best in passing, going against this incredibly blitz heavy defense. And Brian Flores, who most likely will try to utilize on the Chargers' lack of depth at the offensive line position. And to be honest with you, I would not be surprised to see a big game out of guys like Dallas Turner and just these incredible linebackers that the Vikings have trying to do anything possible to get to Justin Herbert, who again will be playing without Najee Harris, without Rashawn Slater, without Amari and Hampton. I mean, if I know I like to sit here and say the San Francisco 49ers are cursed, but I'm starting to believe the LA Chargers might also be cursed. I think that, the curse was supposed to go to the Rams, but somehow they were able to, move the black magic from one side of the field to the other and give it to the Chargers instead. What do you expect to see out of this game, Spark?
I probably would expect a low scoring
affair.
Yeah. Minnesota's defense, it's dealing with injuries as well. Their leading tackler has been out for the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's a Carson Wentz drove offense. I would expect, he seemed to be back into a rhythm with his receivers. They're without Aaron Jones. And I believe he should be back here in the next week or so, as well as Hampton. But I'm expecting a low scoring game, but who knows? Herbert, threw 400 plus yards last week.
And again,
the resurgence of having a tight end like we talked about with yesterday with Aronda Gatson. It could go either way. That's one of the few games that I'm kind of on the fence on who I think is going to take the game.
It's an incredibly even game when you look at it. Minnesota 3-3, the Chargers are 4-3. Both of them have come off of pretty rough losses last week, and both of them are desperately looking to get back on track. I think right now I would trust the Chargers a little bit more just because of who's at quarterback. Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz. And as Minnesota has learned, he has his own brand of football, which is sometimes he looks like an MVP and sometimes he looks like the world's worst backup quarterback. And I'm not sure which one you're going to get going against the Chargers right now. And the Chargers defense is nothing to slouch around about as well. They have their moments of making plays. And right now, I think you're going to get a lot of those plays, or at least a lot of players looking to make those plays tonight on Thursday night to get them back on track and get moving into a 5-3 record and stay afloat with the Chiefs, stay afloat with the Broncos, and really just try to keep their playoff hopes alive right now. The Minnesota Vikings, I think your biggest question is really what you're going to get when JJ McCarthy inevitably comes back. Because I think a lot of people are really, it's half and half. I think some people are really writing the kid off already, saying he's not a quarterback in the NFL. And some people are saying, you need to give him more time. I am personally in the camp of you need to give him more time. He's only played 2 games in the NFL. That's not enough of a sample size to say if he's able to play or not. And to be honest with you, the first game, at least for a while, he looked good. Once he reached Atlanta, there was a big problem there.
I'm just not sure if that's the type of quarterback that fits that scheme.
Right.
Personally, and that's just me. But we did have a listener that said, should I go with Keenan Allen tonight? And I'm like, Keenan Allen gets his.
Yes, he does.
He's been getting his.
Yes, he does. But again, you know how we feel about Thursday night games. It's really one of those situations where you have to either take it with a grain of salt or just steer away from him altogether. I like Keenan. I like Gadsden tonight as well, as I mentioned to you guys yesterday during our waiver wire Wednesdays. I personally would start him, though, just because, like Sparky just said, he gets his. And with the third best passing offense in the league right now, they're going to have to lean on it. I know they have the 2 young running backs. They're trying to figure out who can fill in for Amarian as he's hurt or while he's hurt.
And I believe this is week 3 that he's been out.
I believe you're correct.
So maybe one more week, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I need him back.
You and me both. At this point, again, regardless, the injuries are really starting to stack up for the Chargers. And if they are going to make anything out of this season, it needs to start now. And you need to stay afloat, because if with the Chiefs firing up and they're ready to take the West back from everybody else,
It's a big win. They need that win.
They need it just to stay afloat in this entire division. They really, really do. We got to take a break. On the other side, we're going to be talking to Vince Kelley, the guy who portrays Blanche in this Golden Girls The Laughs Continue show that is going to be live here at the Fox Theater in November. If you're a Golden Girls fan, trust me, you're going to want to go check this out. It is hilarious. It takes the beauty of that show and modernizes it. It really does. It's as if the show never ended, and we'll get all the information from Vince on the other side of this break. I'm very, very excited to talk to him about this, because this is one of the most interesting things I have ever seen. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. We also stream video every single weekday from 7 to 9 as the show goes from 7 to 9 in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We're also on Instagram and TikTok. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that type of good stuff. Including, I cannot wait for this show. For those of you who are Golden Girls fans, like a lot of us, there is a special show coming right here to the Fox Theater in November called The Golden Girls: The Last Continue, where four hilarious individuals on the characters of the Golden Girls and just show you what it would be like if these girls still had the show today in a modern time. And one of those gentlemen are with us here today. That'd be Vince Kelley, the guy who portrays Blanche. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. This is my first time on an ESPN affiliate, so I think I finally made it.
Right? That's what we keep saying too. It's just we appreciate you coming on. I mean, you portray Blanche, and before we get into all of this and like how the show goes, I need to know who came up with this idea. How did you guys get started, and what has really been the driving force to keep this thing going?
Yeah, like a lot of good ideas, it was kind of born during the pandemic. We were all sitting around thinking what we were going to do when things went back to normal. And yeah, we just thought, hey, this would be fun. The Golden Girls was having this huge surge of popularity on Hulu. It had kind of landed on streaming, and so many people were rediscovering it during the lockdown. And we were like, okay, let's be a part of this. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, that's kind of how it came to be.
And name drop your other three co-hosts, because I mean, you guys are all fantastic at this, portraying the four women. And from what I have seen, the videos that you guys have up on YouTube and whatnot, and all of your interviews, you guys do a great job at really just encapsulating this show and why people loved it so much.
Yeah. We, the other actors, Christopher Cam as Sophia, Adam Graber as Rose, and Christopher Davis as Dorothy, we're all big fans of the show. So, we took it pretty seriously, even though we're, guys dressing up as old ladies, and, the premise is a little ridiculous. We're all pretty serious about how ridiculous we have to be. So, the fans aren't going to buy into it if we're just going up, not have done our homework. So,
right, absolutely.
We all really approach it from like a real actory standpoint, and then after that we can get silly.
So with the story, so like Burdick had mentioned in the intro, it's like the Golden Girls came to 2025, and when I was watching some of this, is the story where Sophie is out on bail.
That's right. So Sophia is out on bail. She was selling drugs to some of her friends at Shady Pines, just for medicinal purposes, just helping with, seniors issues, which they get when they get older. And yeah, she got sold out by a rival drug lord who's also Stan. That's the part that, is not in the press release. That's always fun for audiences to see, is that Stan's there too, still, being a dummy, and he got Sophia in trouble.
Oh, that's fantastic. So is this more improv based for those people who haven't seen this yet? Is it all scripted? You guys kind of have the jokes going in, or is it just kind of a fly by night thing? If it kind of works, it works.
It started with the script. When we first all got together, we were like, okay, we'll read the lines. And then, when you do it for, we're going on 3 years now. When you go on 3 years, you want to make it a little different. And so we started doing a little ad libbing, and then we started doing a little bit more. So we always keep the integrity of the storyline. But what's really fun for us is making it about where we're at. So, when we're on the bus coming to a new town, we're going to be coming to Bakersfield. So we'll get down and we'll be like, what are the people in Bakersfield talking about today? What are they dealing with? What's going on in their city? What events do they have coming up? So we kind of, really we talk about their sports teams and stuff like that. So it's really fun for us to keep the show kind of fresh. And then the audience, they're sitting down, they're like, but why is Blanche talking about, the local traffic ordinance that everyone's fighting about in Bakersfield? Like, what are they doing? So, we try to really make it fun for the people who come out.
That's awesome. Because I mean, it's pretty much like a personalized episode for every city you guys go to, right?
That's right. Yeah. We have a lot of time on the bus, so we just sit there and we pitch jokes to each other about like, hey, I saw on Google, and it's really fun when you don't go to it. You think you've done the research, and then the joke bombs.
Yeah, and then
and you're
realize.
like, I thought this was really important to you guys.
Well, the show is coming up over here at the Fox Theater Thursday, November 6th. Tickets are available. You can go to the Bakersfield Fox Theater's website or AXS.com. But going back to before this, I mean, are you guys comedians or actors, stage performers? I mean, how did you get into this?
Yeah, all just actors. I've been doing this for quite a while, and the other people, we all have like degrees in acting and theater and stuff. So most of the other guys, this was their first time putting on, doing some female impersonation too. So that was been a fun journey. If you look up some old clips of like our makeup and stuff, it's pretty rough. But now, a couple years later, practice makes perfect, and now it's a little better.
That's fantastic. And then, how did you guys come to the decision of who plays who? Did you guys fight over who was going to be playing Blanche, who's going to be playing Betty White's character? How did that happen?
Well, I was lucky enough to be a part of the production since its inception. I was kind of part of the writing team and producing team and stuff. So I came in and they were like, okay, well, you should play Rose, because they were like, and rightfully so, Rose is going to be the hardest part to cast and the hardest impression. And they were like, so you should do that. And I was like, yeah, so no, I'm not going to do that. I will be Blanche. I'm only playing Blanche. I have always just wanted to play. So I was like, so there's that. So they're like, okay, well then you find, these other people. And I just worked with these two guys who just had graduated from Wayne State for theater. And I really liked them. And I was like, hey, you guys want to try out for the show? I don't know. We might just go one weekend. I'm not sure what we're going to do. And they did. And one was tall and one was from the UP in Michigan. So, adjacent to Minnesota. And it just worked out. And they've been with us for a couple years. And Sophia was just another friend of mine who loved the Golden Girls and is Italian and very short. And I said, nice. I think we can make this work.
Awesome.
So yeah, we've all just kind of knew each other from Detroit. And it really started out as just like, let's do the show for a weekend in DC to see if we can, to see if there's a proof of concept. So really nobody was supposed to be with the show longer than that. And then we've all still been together, 3 years. So
right on.
You guys are all based out of Detroit?
For the most part, since the show started, lives have changed. Dorothy now lives in California, and Rose lives in Salt Lake City, but Detroit is kind of where we all all got together.
Well, finally, for the Bakersfield audience, coming out to the Fox, what would you say to someone that's maybe a longtime fan or even somebody that didn't grow up watching the Golden Girls? I personally, me and my wife caught on to the Golden Girls stuff again during COVID. So, what can we expect? I did see in the press release that there'll be some Easter eggs on the stage, sort of for the big fans.
Yeah, we want to give everybody something. So we do have some Easter eggs in there, the set and the jokes, we get pretty in there, but we didn't want to keep the show very like inside baseball. We wanted, for somebody who's never seen the Golden Girls to be like, oh, I understand what this is. Yeah. It's just like a fun plot line and brings it in today. So yeah, that's kind of like the testament of the show is we do like a meet and greet after if you buy like a little ticket package, you can come meet us and you'll see like the super fan woman with her shirt and her purse and like Golden Girls earrings, and she's like dragging this guy who's never seen an episode, and he'll be like, this was really funny, I think I'm gonna start watching the show now. And I'm like, yeah, the real show is just like this. Exactly. That's it. Yep, it's just like that. So yeah, we like making new Golden Girls fans.
Absolutely. And I got two more questions before we let you go. One, you guys talk about how you take this show, you bring it into a modern era, and obviously that means streaming services and whatnot. So you just talked about how maybe you haven't seen the Golden Girls, or maybe you have. For those people who have seen the Golden Girls, what are kind of the little differences besides like the tweaks to, the city that you guys are going to be in that they can be aware of?
Yeah. So, it is 2025. That's how we kind of take our show. It's that they're still living together, still having a good time after all these years. We have moved from like a cable network television to a streaming site. So that means we can say some things that only the real actresses of the Golden Girls were able to say on the soundstage that never made it to air. Like we say, there's some dialogue in the show that's it's not what you'd hear on ABC.
Risque.
So that's kind of what punches it up. So like right out the gate in the first few minutes of the show, Rose Nyland gets like this big like, I have no spoilers, but she like says this phrase that like if you heard Betty White say it, your like hair would turn white. But the audience is just, they're like, oh my God, like the things you never got to say. It's like, X-rated, lost episode.
That's awesome. And then just to highlight you and your fantastic co-stars, I know this show probably keeps you guys incredibly busy, but is there anything else that you guys do on the side outside of just this show? And how can people who are listening to us right now follow you guys?
Here's what I'll say. Like the Golden Girls TikTok, Golden Girls Tour, like at Golden Girls Tour is like, it's the best like entry level idea of what we do on our show, because we are just acting an absolute fool on TikTok, which is like kind of like it's Golden Girls 2025, So like if you go to our TikTok and you're like, oh my God, these guys are funny, you're gonna like our show. If you go to our TikTok and you're like, I hate this, then maybe just stay at home and watch Golden Girls, available on Hulu 24/7. So that's what I would say. Check us out on there. That's honestly, we love the show so much. That is what we do with our free time, is we sit around and we're like, what insane, stupid thing can we do on TikTok today? Awesome. Okay, let's do like the Sprite challenge as the Golden Girls. And like, that's what
the show is coming up November 6th right here in Bakersfield at the Fox Theater. Vince, we appreciate you coming out and making some time. And if you get in town before the show, you're always welcome here in studio.
We would love to have you in studio.
Oh my God, don't threaten me with a good time. Let's look into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to have all four of you in studio if you guys have any time at all before the show.
Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to the people who we need to talk to.
Well, we appreciate your time, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. I think Kendrick and Logic are the only two rappers modern day that I know their music is like off the bar. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for me.
I'm the same with Tyler.
Ooh, no, it's true. There's a couple Tyler songs too, and the Yonkers still goes hard to this day.
Still one of my favorites.
To this day. This is the Early Bird Special, though, on ESPN Bakersfield. I want to thank Vince Kelley for joining us. Our guy Bolt Brady will be up next. I hope we can get all four of them in here. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be in War Wars by that time. But if we can get all four of them in studio at the same time.
Well, it's only 2 weeks away. November 6th, dude. It's 2 weeks away.
Full outfit. Just all four of them sitting
and
here.
they could put on a show.
No, that's what I'm saying. We wouldn't have to do comedy all day. We may make you laugh sometimes, but those four will make you laugh the whole time. I can promise you that. Let's get to some of these text messages. We'll get to our picks of the week right after Bolt gives his, especially since he gives us some of that. He saved me with that Denver game. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Mike gave me some insight. The first one says, Pump Up the Volume is one of those jams that I hiddenly blast when I need to get jacked.
Yes, Pump Up the Volume. Love that. See, again, another song that we need one of these guys, even if it's just Daft Punk. I don't care who does it. Someone's got to remake these classics, baby.
The next one says, the mob never went away. They just stay on the low. Did I read that they were aware of the setup?
Who was aware of the setup?
The mob. I don't think so. That's not
I highly doubt the mob did anything fully aware of a setup or a sting operation.
Yeah, I don't think they were.
Highly doubt that.
I don't think they were helping.
Now, what I do know for a fact is that the NBA had no clue that the FBI were going to be arresting Chauncey and Terry this morning. That is a fact.
What I got out of it, the helper was the Cavs guy you were talking about.
Essentially, the Damon Jones helper. Yeah, he's the one that would funnel the information to these bettors, or at least to the people. I guess it must have been the people making the bets. I doubt he's funneling the information already to the NBA players who already know it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They're all going down at some point or another.
The next one says, Rex Ryan is trying so hard to be relevant, but now taking shots at Jordan Love, our boy, really makes zero sense. And get off my lawn, Rex.
Oh, I didn't even hear this. Honestly, I thought we were going to go to the fact that Aaron Glenn actually backed Justin yesterday. And
did he?
Yeah, he came out and said, and I didn't hear any knock from Woody against Justin. I was like, Aaron, you need to listen to that audio again.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I don't know what you heard, but the rest of America heard something very differently. And to be honest with you, there were a lot of shots taken at your quarterback, and it's partially your fault there, big guy. Sorry.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with Rex. I'll catch his insight segment or whatever they call it. I'm not a fan, but I'm also an anti-Jet fan. So
he has his moments of being brilliant, but most of the time it's when he's analyzing defenses. Anytime he opens his mouth about a quarterback or something like that, I immediately go to, homie, you had Mark Sanchez. I don't need to hear from you. I love Mark, but we don't need to hear. And there's more from that story too. His lawyers were just in court the other day for the pre-court hearings and whatnot. So we'll give you the information on that probably tomorrow.
The arraignment.
Yeah.
The next one says, love the show. I'm starting to think Lane Kiffin will be perfect for Florida.
And that's the rumor right now, is that Ole Miss might be missing Lane Kiffin next year. And to be honest with you, I agree. I think he would fit very, very well down there in Florida. My only thing, though, is it's hard to pull these coaches away without dropping some buku money, and you're going to have to give Lane Kiffin probably just as much as Indiana gave Coach Signetti. You're going to have to be dropping $11, $12 million on a coach alone. That's a lot of money for college.
And would that open the door for Gruden?
Probably.
In Ole Miss?
It's funny, McAfee was just talking about that. Like, why don't we have Gruden as a coach? And the first thing that I heard from Darius Butler was he needs to be in the SEC. He's an SEC coach. I said, thank you. Thank you, D-Bunch.
That's what he's been
saying it forever. This man needs to be either at LSU, Florida, some sort of SEC school. I promise you it would be the match made in heaven.
The last one says, do you think Ty Simpson will be the first quarterback drafted?
No, I'm going to ride with Mendoza. I think the quarterback from Indiana is just uber talented. He's got the arm strength. He's that prototypical quarterback that you would really want. Plus, he's got the mental fortitude. I like Simpson, though. But Alabama quarterbacks, much like USC quarterbacks, haven't really panned out the best. Jalen Hurts being the outlier, but again, he was an outlier. He was a both Alabama and Oklahoma prospect. Simpson is a very, very good quarterback. I know he'll probably be one of the first taken, but no, I think the first overall taken off the board most likely will be Mendoza.
And going down some of the injuries from the NFL going into week 8, I did see the Packers will have wide receiver Christian Watson back. I also read a report that the Browns might be planning to start Shedeur the last month of the season. That's what what I'm reading is that they're pushing to let Gabriel play out, and then around week 14 where they take off, they'll be playing the Bears, Bills, Steelers, and Bengals. So we'll see the last month of football. Obviously, unless Gabriel does something crazy or gets injured. But driving in this morning, Canty was just going off saying, you got rid of Pickett, you got rid of Flacco, and coach came out yesterday saying, 100% of the snaps in practice this week are going to Gabriel, and Shedeur's not even getting the backup usual 5-10% of snaps. And it just feels like they're
setting him up for failure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially what they're doing. They're setting him up for failure. And again, if this is what Cleveland wants to do, then fine, do it. But it's going to be another example, inevitably, when he probably leaves for the Raiders or one of these teams that are quarterback needy. Miami. It really doesn't matter who. Anybody but Cleveland.
Everybody that passed on him, pretty much.
We just had a Cleveland fan in this studio yesterday who was talking about it.
Pushing Shedeur.
Why at this point, our guys at Pro Football know what they're talking about. Now you're wasting time. Now by coming out and announcing this, you're wasting everybody's time, including Shedeur's. Because you're just letting everybody know, we have a plan to do it. We're just not going to do it right now, which makes no sense at all. If you have a plan to do it, then do it. Or, I don't know, wait till the bye week and then just throw him in after the bye week. Have an actual quarterback competition between Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders at practice. Whoever does better gets the starting nod. Or you can go old school. The next game after your bye, one quarterback gets one half, the other quarterback gets the other half. Whoever does better is the quarterback going forward. It's that simple. I don't know why the heck we get this from Cleveland every single time they need a new quarterback. It's just ridiculous. And I'm not even saying this because I'm a Shedeur fan. I really couldn't care less if Shedeur starts. I really couldn't at this point. But now you're just wasting everybody's time. And just like Jerry Jones, essentially at this point, you're just talking out of your left ear just to, keep yourself in the media, which makes no sense at all. No one could care less about Cleveland. And now
if it wasn't for Shedeur.
And I'm really starting to believe they genuinely did trade Joe Flacco to the Cincinnati Bengals just solely to screw over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I genuinely
which I don't have a problem with.
I have no problem with it either. But at the same time, this is what you're worried about. You're so focused on trading starters away
other teams
to usurp other teams. And you're not even thinking how the heck you could be that team at the top. I get it if you're doing this as a chess game. Like I said earlier, when they traded Joe, maybe they're playing chess while we're playing checkers. But to sit there and essentially just do this and play around with it just to keep fans talking about it bugs me to no end.
And they're not going to stop talking until he plays.
No, not at all. And the other big story that we have to highlight real quick before we go to break, have you heard this story out of Baltimore of them removing the ping pong stuff and all the toys out of the locker room?
Which is normal.
Absolutely. And everybody's freaking out over it.
Dolphins did it a couple years ago when they lost their first game when they were actually good.
Should have happened a long time ago, if you're asking me. And I mean, I heard McAfee and all these guys talking about it yesterday. I can't believe they did that. You're taking away. Yeah, you're 1-6. Of course.
I heard more after the show that they were maybe hinting that they might start shuffling some players out before the trade deadline, because what I've said since the kickoff the season, if Baltimore didn't play well or didn't win the Super Bowl, I think Harbaugh is gone. I personally think Harbaugh is on the hot seat.
I have to agree with you. We've talked about it the last couple of weeks. If we're going to be talking about Zach Taylor's job in Cincinnati, we need to be talking about John Harbaugh's job in Baltimore, because I mean, everybody is so quick to throw these coaches out that just got to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. John's been with his team for almost 2 decades, probably over 2 decades, and probably way under. And nothing besides that one run with Joe Flacco and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed when he first got there. Outside of that, it's been absolute crickets, and they have had nothing but championship contending teams really since Lamar got there. So when are we going to start pointing the finger at the other side of the coin? That's the only question I've always had with Baltimore. Let's take a break real quick. Our guy Bolt Brady was up next. He'll give you his picks of the week. Hope you guys make some money in the world of football. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. It's time, as we always do on these Thursdays, to bring in our guy, Bolt Brady, from Bolt Brady and his bro at the Believe Network. Help you guys win some money on some football this weekend. Sir, how are we?
Doing great. I heard you guys talking about Joe Flacco. He did it for us last Thursday.
Just
Let's
saying.
try to do it again tonight.
Are you picking Cincy? Are you rolling with Cincy again this weekend?
No, not this weekend, but I
Fair
was
enough.
saying tonight I like the Chargers, actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I just Carson Wentz. I think people kind of think he's the same player he was in 2017, but he's been on 6 teams in the last 6 years. There's a reason for that.
It's true. And I mean, again, I highlighted it a little bit. He has his own brand of football. Sometimes he comes out looking like an MVP, and sometimes he comes out looking like the worst backup quarterback in the NFL. It's just the weirdest thing in the world. Real quick, before we get to your picks of the week, though, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this, and feel free to tell me to shove it if you don't have any comments about this, but I don't know if you've heard the news out of the NBA this morning, the Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier being arrested for illegal gambling. Any thoughts on this and basically the betting problem I think the NBA has right now?
Well, I don't know if it's right now, right? Maybe it's getting caught now because they have all these things put in place with the casinos nowadays that if they see some betting that looks out of place, the red flags go up. So like with Rozier, I think there was like 30 different individual bets totaling like almost 14,000. And so
46 minutes, Bull.
Yes.
46 minutes,
so
all those bets came in.
Flags.
Well, he just randomly exited the game with an injury. I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing as Porter last year. It's just this is becoming an issue.
Well, what I'm just wondering is it always been an issue? It's just getting caught now.
Right.
Exactly.
No, that's a beautiful point. It's a very brilliant point. I mean, and you're probably right. This probably been happening for years, and these guys have just been smart enough not to get caught. And now that the NBA is partnering with the FBI and trying to crack down on all of this, we're going to see a ton of these guys go down.
Yeah, I think that, I would hope these guys are smart enough now, like, hey, if we try this, we're going to get busted.
I would assume.
You would think, right?
But
You would think. But with a newer commish like we're seeing with the NBA, do you think the next step is he's going to have to do something? I mean, obviously there's a ton of money that they would be stepping away from. But, I mean, it seems like a bigger issue with the NBA.
Yeah, I don't know that there is just so much money involved. I mean, in Europe, that betting has been taking place forever, and every so often they have issues in soccer, and they just deal with it and try to move on.
That's true. I mean, soccer is such a big thing, though, around the world, and there's so many different leagues and the money that's connected to it. I'm just still shocked that Chauncey's getting into poker games with the mob. I mean, can you quell a little bit of my worries here with all of these cheating things and these cheating tech that the mob has to steal the money away from us? These aren't in Vegas, right? I'm not losing my money on a poker table because they are scanning my cards.
Oh no, never. Never.
I just
let's get into these games. Obviously, we probably want to start out with the college picks this week. What you got?
So for college, I like Vandy. We had them last week, and they got home for us. And I like them again this week. They're playing Missouri, who I like Missouri, but they just went to Auburn last week and went into overtime. That's going to wear them out a little bit. They got to go back on the road. And Diego and Vandy have something special going.
Vandy is my new favorite SEC team, Bolt. I love watching these guys play. And Sean Alexander's son is the running back. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. I looked it up last weekend during the LSU game, and I said, that has to be him. And yeah, it's his son. And I said, more reason for fans to go and watch this team play.
No kidding. Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. And then and also in college, I like Iowa State. BYU's traveling into Iowa State, and Iowa State's a very hard place to play. And BYU just had the Holy Bowl with Utah that they won, so they're probably going to be a little gassed also.
Is BYU legit? Can people really trust that this is going to continue for the Cougars?
I mean, that always happens when you're the.
That's what I'm so skeptical. Anytime BYU is a good team or ranked, it seems like they always fall flat.
I agree. His history does show that. So I would, same thing again. We're going to have to find out once the playoffs roll around.
You're absolutely correct. Any other big picks for the college, or are we moving to pros?
Let's move to the pros. So, like I said, I like the Chargers tonight. And then one of my favorite games is the Steelers +3 at home against Green Bay. Aaron getting to play the Packers. He's trying to downplay it, but they keep doing all these comparisons between he and Jordan Love. I think Aaron's going to show him who's the better quarterback.
I agree. And honestly, anytime Aaron is going to play against the Packers, I'm expecting something big out of him specifically. I know he said that it'd be different if they were in Lambeau, but I agree with you. I think he's just trying to sit there and say, I can't necessarily bring it up as a big thing. We just lost to Cincinnati last week. I need to focus. Kind of
right. And they're on national television. Yep. I mean, come on.
You can't do it. You can't do it. So I agree with you. Any other picks from the pros that we should be aware of?
The last one I got here is the Eagles are going to get revenge against the Giants. They're -7.5 at home. The Eagles are tough, man. Jalen's actually 28-4 straight up at home. They're just tough to beat, and they're going to be wanting to get revenge after that first loss to the Giants.
And that's one of our big questions of the week. Do you think that the Eagles can continue being a great team by leaning on the pass game, or are they going to need to get Saquon going at some point?
Well, you would think they need to get Saquon going at some point. I think that people are always trying to shoot holes through the Eagles, you know?
Right.
They're saying, oh, they can't pass. Then all of a sudden, Jalen throws for over 300 yards.
Has a perfect passer rating. And it's just...
Yeah. They're a good team. I don't care what anyone says, that they're still a great team.
Oh, they always find ways to win. We had a couple questions sent in. One was the Ole Miss and Oklahoma game and what you thought about that one.
Wow. Well, talk about a place that's hard to play. Yeah. Oklahoma. I mean, Ole Miss is rolling right now, but I would lean with Oklahoma there.
And the last one is he's a 49er fan, and he's saying he's a bit worried about this game at Houston.
I would agree with that. I don't think Houston's a very good team, but the Niners are so banged up. It's got to catch up with them at some point. That would be a stay away for me.
I have to agree. That's one of those games where I looked at it and I said, nah, D'Amico Ryan's going back to playing San Fran in Houston, I should say. It didn't seem right. Like, I can't easily say that San Francisco is going to walk away with a win there.
And the last one we just got says, I know Indiana is 7-0, but what about this game against UCLA's tough D? I didn't mean to laugh. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I shouldn't be laughing at all.
Tough defense. Okay.
Hey, UCLA, I have to give them props. They've battled back from just getting smashed in the beginning of the season. I know they've won at least 2, maybe 3 in a row, but going up against Indiana is going to be a whole nother beat.
Yeah, that's a whole nother world.
Way, baby. I'm telling you right now. I mean, UCLA is garbo, but I'm a USC fan, so I'm biased. Bolt, thank you so much for your time as always, my friend. We will talk to you next week.
See you, fellas.
Thanks, man. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. Still my favorite Metallica song. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Streaming video every single weekday from 7 to 9 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find us all over the place, including Instagram and TikTok. Like, subscribe, share, all that type of good stuff. It's time to get to our picks of the week. Then we'll get to you guys' text messages and get out of here for the day. Join us tomorrow when we have a guest-filled show for you. I believe we have the wrestlers from Rodeo Pro Wrestling coming in. We'll have Chris Flail coming in. And who was our 8:30 again?
We're waiting to get confirmation.
Oh,
we
right.
might have maybe a Hall of Fame type NASCAR racer joining us. But we'll see. We'll see.
I kind of hope he gets his son to come in with him too.
Yeah,
I would love to talk to both of them.
I know they said they were traveling this morning, so I should hear something this evening.
Sweet.
But if not, you can always go out to the Kevin Harvick Raceway Park, and he's racing his son in a different type of modeled car. So it'll be the first time they race with this type of vehicle, but it's always a great time out at the raceway.
Son took game 1.
Yes.
That's all we got. That's all. Well, actually, I need to actually look back and see
the stats of the rest of them,
how it's been going throughout the country. But
yeah, I think they finished this one, and now they're starting a new
race string. That would make sense. I mean, again, this is just fun to talk about in general. Kevin and his son racing against each other at any point in time is always entertaining, and anytime it's here local, and it's perfect weather, absolutely. I can't wait to get back out there. It was so much fun the first time.
And going out to our football picks, week 8 starting tonight. We got the Minnesota Vikings at the Chargers. I'm going Chargers.
Are you rolling with Bolt? For the sake of being different, I will go with the Minnesota Vikings this time, just to throw it out there.
And the game between both of our teams, which rarely happens, but Miami Dolphins, Atlanta. I don't even need to ask.
Nope. We already know
Miami. You're taking Atlanta.
Absolutely.
But the Jets at the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm pretty sure we're both going to ride with the Cincinnati Bengals, right?
I think the Jets will look better, though. I will say.
I think it's interesting. The Cincinnati Bengals offensive line magically learned how to block when Joe Flacco became the quarterback.
It's Magic Joe. Cleveland at New England. I'm still rolling with New England.
So hard to pick, but yeah, I'm going to have to go with New England with you as well. I would like to say that Dylan Gabriel pulls it off for Cleveland, but New England's hot right now, man. They really are.
The New York Football Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. You rolling with the Bolt?
I'm going with Bolt, man. There is no way Philadelphia loses to the Giants 2 times in a row.
I am rolling with the Jackson Dart and the Giants. There's something about him.
I like Jackson. I like Scattaboo. I like what they got rolling here. In the next 2 to 3 years, we're talking about a good team.
And we got Buffalo coming off a bye week, traveling to Carolina. The Hot Panthers.
Never pick Carolina.
We're will.
With Buffalo.
I will take Carolina to switch it up.
Go for it. Let's go.
Chicago at Baltimore.
Another one of those games I really don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole. But
I'm going with the Bears.
If you go with the Bears, I'll go with the Baltimore Ravens. I do think that if Lamar plays coming off of this bye week, hopefully we see the Ravens team that everyone expected to see about 2 months ago.
And one of these tricky games, the San Francisco 49ers at the Houston Texans.
Which one are you rolling with? Because I agree with Bolt. The Houston Texans are not a good football team right now, but at the same time, San Francisco is nothing but injuries.
I'm going to go with the San Francisco McCaffreys.
Are you? You know what? If you go with San Francisco, I'll go with Houston. I'll take Houston in this one.
Tampa at New Orleans. I'm guessing we're both taking Tampa.
Tampa Bay. Sorry. New Orleans is absolute dumpster fire right now.
And this one should be a good game. Dallas at Denver.
This is going to be a better game than people think.
I'm going Dallas.
Are you going Dallas?
Dak is playing so hot right now.
He really is. I'll go with Denver. I'll take Denver.
It's got to be a tough one.
This is. We're going to have a whole week of us just being back and forth, man. This is going to be fantastic.
Tennessee Titans at the Colts. I'm guessing we're both taking the Colts.
Colts are legit.
And those are the ones that'll be
This is the team, man. I'm telling you.
The Sunday night game, the Rodgers against his old team. Green Bay at Pittsburgh. I'm going Green Bay.
Are you taking the Bakersfield boy? I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got to believe that Aaron Rodgers refuses to lose to his Packers.
I think that's going to be the answer.
I know.
I'm just going with Josh Jacobs. I think Green Bay can pull it out.
Honestly, him and Micah Parsons alone are the reason why they won that game against Arizona. But that's also why I'm skeptical, because for Arizona to be anywhere near the winning portion of that game makes me believe that they're not as good as we think they are.
And the Monday night game, which I already know, we're both taking the Chiefs.
Yep.
If Daniels was playing, I might have thought about Washington, but
At this
with
point,
Mariota
nah.
at
With
Kansas City, I don't even think it's going to be close.
Kansas City's got Patrick Mahomes. They got Captain Kool-Aid, as Freddie likes to call him, Mr. Ed or Andy Reid. They got Mr. Travis Kelce Swift, and they got the Zebras on their side, plus no quarterback on the other side for Washington.
I'm going to go 37-10, so
rough.
47 for a
47.
tiebreaker.
I'll go a little bit higher than you. I'll go 54.
54. And one of our fantasy lineup questions sent in, who should I start this week, Parsons or Watt?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Going against each other in that one as well.
Ooh.
If I had to guess which one was going to have a bigger game, I'm probably going to go with Micah Parsons.
Me too.
Micah has been one of those guys that just anytime you need a play done on the defensive side, it's him that's making it. And I think that this defense of the Green Bay Packers is going to be needing a lot of those plays. So I'd probably roll with Micah.
And the last one is another individual defensive player, Myles Garrett or Tupoloto.
Always go with
Lotu.
I know Tupolotu is a fantastic tackler, but I always go with the big name guys like Myles Garrett. They're good for at least 1 to 2 sacks.
I was looking for 2 a couple weeks ago, and I was looking at his stats, and besides the big 15-point game he had, a lot of it is just 3, 4, 3,
And that's
4.
the problem you can run into with these individual defensive players. Sometimes they'll have one game where they blow up for 15, 20 points.
And it screws up the averages.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden they're at the top of the free agency.
And you think, oh, this guy is good. He's number 9 at his position. And then he ends up getting 0.5 for you because
definitely
he doesn't
look
do
at
anything.
the game log.
Yeah. I would definitely roll with the star players there. So Myles Garrett over Tupo, and more than likely, I think Micah Parsons over TJ too.
And one other question I wanted to bounce off you. I know it's been a crazy, we talked to the Golden Girls today. We talked about one of the Hall of Fame
If
coach
you didn't enjoy today's show, I don't know what
got arrested to kick off the morning. It's been crazy, but I was reading this NFL executive VP Troy Vincent and former Miami Dolphin.
Yep.
Told team owners it may be time to revisit the 4th and 15 proposal as a replacement for onside kicks. And I think he's got it. I think it'll fit perfectly in the NFL.
Honestly, we've adopted a lot of things from these other football leagues, including the new kickoff rule, which in my opinion works beautifully. It really does. It gets rid of all of the issues that these people have had against it.
I think with all the tweaks they've done with the kickoff, I think they finally got it right.
I think so too. I think this is just the right way to do it. And maybe Troy's right. Maybe the NFL takes us one step further and says no more onside, but you get a 4th and 15 opportunity that could potentially get you the ball.
So the only thing I haven't seen is where the ball would be, if it would be the 20, the 30.
That's where I'm at. Because also in my head is if we start you 4th and 15 from, say, the 20, and you get it, but say it's like a 25-yard pass and you're at the 45, do you get to start at the 45 or do you start at the 35? And then the other half of this as well, say you get stopped.
Yeah, did they get the ball right there?
Exactly. Say you try to throw it down, it's only 5-yard gain, you get down to the 30. Does the other team get the ball at the 30-yard line going in? So I think there's a lot of things that they need to talk about to, tweak all of this type of stuff. I like the idea, like Sparky. It's a fantastic, just different thing to throw in there.
The onside is what, like 0.1% chance.
And I think in the league we are in today too, every quarterback can make that work. I think that you can find at least a play or a scheme or something to find out how to do a 4th and 15.
Just with our coaching backgrounds, do you think that would change anything really?
Yeah.
In the mindset of a coach when say you're down by 10, you kick a field goal instead, knowing, okay, we can go on 4th and 15 instead of going for the 7 first?
I would say yes, because there is more likely, in my opinion, that you'll get the 4th and 15 than you will an onside kick.
I'm just saying the mindset, like say you're down by 10 and you're at 4th. Are you kicking that field goal or are you still going for a touchdown?
Absolutely. No, kick the field goal because, again, your offense no longer leaves the field. Your offense goes right back out there, 4th and 15. You're starting another drive over from start, essentially.
And how offenses are, it's a much better chance you can pull out a 4th and 15. I just hope it's not where it turns into, a pass interference or a penalty that fixes that. Okay, you got the 4th down because of a penalty.
See, that is the other question that you have to, again, there's a lot of things that we have to tweak before this actually becomes a rule. I highly doubt it actually gets voted in this offseason. It's probably going to be something that gets revisited for the next 2 to 3 years. But yeah, no, I got to agree with you. This would change the mindset of late game drives, especially comebacks, because again, you have Josh Allen out there, 4th and 15, right after just scoring a touchdown. You're down by 3. Of course, I'm sending Josh back out there to get the ball back. No, I'm not going to be going to an onside. Yeah, I'm going to give the ball to Josh. I'm going to give the ball to Patrick. I'm going to give the ball to Dak.
Well, after the rules that they've changed with the onside kick, where they have to be even behind and ask,
and you have to announce it. By announcing it, you're already taking away the whole
funnest
point.
It was a surprise onside.
Exactly. I mean, again, it was one of the most exciting plays in football. It is no longer, because really it's no longer a play in football. Let's be fair. But yeah, no, if we move to a 4th and 15 style thing for comebacks, at least 100%, that changes the mindset of most coaches. And I think that opens the door to way more comebacks as well. Because like I said, it is way more likely for you to get a 4th and 15 than an onside kick with 11 guys trying to crash down on you at the same time. We got to get out of here for the rest of the day. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Join us back here tomorrow for a guest-filled show. We got some pro wrestlers coming in. Hopefully we'll hear from Kevin Harvick as well. But until then, we got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.